So here is how to create inner peace in your life. Step one is you have to meditate. And I say you have to meditate because you have to create enough separation between your mind and the voice in your head, or your awareness and the voice in your head. If you believe you're the voice in your head, then every time a situation arises that's difficult to deal with, or that challenges you or triggers you, you're going to buy into that. You're going to believe that that's who you are. And the voice in your head is constantly talking, right? You have little control over what it says and what comes out and what you think, essentially. But by meditating, you develop the skill of being able to balance your inner thoughts. You gain more control over your ability to think or not, or where you focus your awareness. So by meditating, you start to create a certain amount of separation between the voice in your head and your identity, who you believe yourself to be. So this is one of the most important things, is as you develop that skill, as you deepen your practice within meditation, you'll start to have experiences where you get to know yourself beyond thoughts. You get to know yourself beyond form. You get to know yourself beyond your external environment, right? I've had experiences where my essence, the only thing I'm aware of is the interconnectedness of everything, right? That sounds a bit vague if you don't know what I'm talking about, but literally it's like the only thing that is there is a deep sense of interconnectedness. Like, you could call it love, you could call it bliss, you could call it eternal peace. But it's through these experiences, which can be accessed through meditation, that you start to understand yourself as deeper than what you've been told that you are. It's deeper than what you've been led to believe you are. And even in that process in itself of just having these experiences, because no one could tell you anything, right? No one can take that away from you. No one can tell you, oh yeah, no, there's nothing more to life than just what you see is what you get, because you've had that experience. And for people who meditate and have been meditating consistently for a while, you would have had these experiences. And you start to be able to slip into these deeper states of consciousness or interconnectedness faster, right? So it gets easier to get connected to source, to God, or to that inner place of peace. What happens over time as well is that you start to have this like background sense that never leaves you, or you can always like tune into it. The only time I can't feel that this aspect I'm talking about of like true inner peace or my true essence is if I'm like really busy or really distracted or just focused on something else, right? Like if I'm playing sport, if I'm playing football, I'm not thinking about, oh, the interconnectedness or feeling good, or I'm just playing sport, right? I'm in a flow state in that moment. So it's not that it ever leaves you, it's just, where is your attention? Where is your focused? What is your attention on? And I would say for the majority of people, speaking from my own experience again, in the past and still recently, the majority of my attention or awareness will be on the suffering or the discomfort of just general stress and pressure and day-to-day life, or worries, right? Or suffering through worries. But even now, if I am worrying or if I am having some struggle, this sense of depth and connected to that peace is ever present. So through like more difficult times, if I want to focus on that peace, that inner peace, I can, because it's always there. And meditation allows for this. And the deeper you go with your meditation practice, the more ability you have to focus your awareness on any one object. is the easier it is or becomes to stay connected to that inner peace. So that's the first thing is if you want to find inner peace, just meditate. It's kind of just mandatory. Like I don't know of another way where you're gonna know it unless you're born enlightened or born truly deeply connected. I mean, to a certain extent, like if you live naturally and you live well, like your body's going to be in alignment with its natural essence, this state of peace. But that's very rare, and I'm speaking to kind of really more the Western world here. So chances are we deal with like stress. So number 2, I probably should have written these down. But the second thing is knowing that you're not your thoughts. This is really important because, again, if you think that you're the voice in your head, even if you meditate, you're still going to start to associate with things that aren't you. You're going to have a dialogue about your meditation, you know. The voice in your head can convince you that you are thinking, and you are thinking that meditation doesn't work, for example. So you have to at some point accept, or at least position yourself with the frame that you are beyond your thoughts and you are not the voice in your head. And this is, again, just something that is just kind of mandatory. You have to just trust that it's part of the process, that it's a necessity of finding lasting inner peace. Because, again, we only suffer because of the mind. We only suffer because we're worrying about the future, or we're worrying about the past, right? We might be in pain, we might be sad, we might be disappointed. Those are emotions that are fleeting. They come up and they rise and they fall. But if we attach our mind to them and we have an inner dialogue going, if there's speaking happening, then this is where we can get stuck in suffering. So you need to at some point accept that the voice in your head isn't you, because there's going to be times when you're so triggered that the voice in your head is going crazy and it will convince you that it's you. But you have to hold on to the truth that you are beyond your thoughts, because otherwise you're going to spiral and you're going to get lost in a false identity. You're going to get lost because it's rational, right? It's like if your mind's going, oh my God, how can I find peace when this is going on, that's going on? But if you don't listen to that voice, then you don't have to entertain those emotions. You don't have to entertain those ideas. So that's really number 2. And then number 3, to find inner peace consistently, is you have to sort out your life. You have to sort out your life. You have to remove yourself from negative situations. You have to remove yourself from negative circumstances. You have to remove yourself from negative people. You have to organize your life in a way that is conducive to good health, to feeling good, to not doing things that is going to cause stress. Or because, again, if you're disorganized, let's say, and you forget to do something. Let's say you forget to, I don't know, check your oil in your car, for example, and then that leads to like a bigger problem in the car. Well, now your week might be disrupted because you can't get to work because your car's broken down, right? Well, these are all things that you have to take care of. Like it's mandatory. There's no way around it. You can't just wing it and leave it up to circumstances to look after things, because if you do, you're going to find yourself in situations that is going to knock you out of flow. It's going to knock you out of doing what you want to do. So you have to start to be responsible for your life. You have to start to be responsible to a certain degree for the people around you, so that you can have a certain level of harmony, a level of balance, right? And if there's a circumstance or situation that you find yourself in that's unacceptable to you, like if you cannot let go of that situation and be peaceful, then you have to fix it. Like there's just no, because again, as much as we can talk about the ego, we do have a certain sense of balance and a certain sense of standard that we need to maintain for ourselves. So whether that's like money, living situation, house, like you have to raise yourself. And I would argue you want to keep raising yourself. You want to keep raising your standard. So that way you never fall back below your baseline. So that way it's easy for you to find that peace. I myself am chasing financial freedom simply because it's an aspect of inner peace. Like, if I'm financially free, then I've got more time to solve problems, to make sure that my life is the way I want it to be, to have more options in terms of my preferences, right? Because it's not about just, because I could tell you, yeah, like meditate and just accept everything and get over any bad situation. But the reality is, like, why would you do that? Why would you make your life more uncomfortable than it needs to be? I heard this story once a long time ago about a Buddhist monk who is, we could call him like enlightened, so like an enlightened monk, right? And he sat on the bus and this overweight, smelly, sweaty guy comes and sits next to him. And bearing in mind, this monk has mastered like Zen, mastered inner peace, can completely control his mind. Like, he can sit there and be at total peace, right? But the question is, should he sit there or should he move? And in my mind, the right answer is, well, of course, you just move. If you're in an uncomfortable situation, why have to balance yourself, even if it doesn't cost you anything? So I guess it's a philosophical question. You can answer it however you want to answer it, and there's probably arguments to and for, but ultimately my thing is, why be in an uncomfortable situation if you don't have to be? And that's really about being responsible for life and responsible for your environment. And yeah, if you're in a situation that's uncomfortable to you, change it, do something about it, align your life so that it's in alignment with your higher values of peace. If you're watching this, you're probably interested in finding inner peace. So yeah, that's going to be one of your values. You obviously value that. So yeah. And then, yeah, there's nuances, right? So it's just like, there's going to be things that trigger us. There's going to be things that trigger us. There's a helicopter going over my head. There's going to be things that trigger us. That the reason why they trigger us is because we had a false belief from the past that is recurring itself today. And we need to have the ability to let go of those things in order to maintain that peace long term. So yeah, those are just really like the three things. Like, if you're on this journey, if you want to find inner peace and you don't feel like you have it yet, then look at these directions. If you want my help with this, if you want some support, feel free to reach out and we'll see what we can do.